Hey guys, how we doing? Just Juicy here again, bringing you your inner circle content. Now, as you know, with Cricket Strength, all the time, what we're trying to do is learn and evolve and get better. And through that sort of process, what we can do as well is go back into programs we've done before and just update them with the latest things we're learning and putting it into practice. So, what I'm going to bring you today is a almost updated version of the first stage of the stress fracture recovery program and show you the first 3 weeks, what we're doing now, how we're implementing it, how we're checking things at the end of every week before the player can move on, and we're getting some really good responses from the players for this one. So we're going to dive in and get started. So let's have a little looky here. So obviously, all the time, even when you've got the news that you've got a stress fracture, don't just almost accept it and think, all right, okay, now I'm into a rehab program. Got to do this, and this. Still take the time to assess. Have a look at the movement. That can give us, if you haven't been assessing your movement before, going after you've had the injury can actually tell us a hell of a lot. Okay, it's pretty a little bit too late because we've already got injured, but we could still know where we are. Okay, like I said, always the first step. Whatever we're doing, if we're just starting off a new training program, doing some recovery, always test, retest, have a little look, and then we know where we are and where we're going, and just make sure you've not missed something. One of the players we've had to work with has been away with England. They've loaded the hell out of him all winter, and they've been telling me how pleased they are and how strong he is. He come back, put him on the floor, and he can upper body roll from his back to his front. So it's telling us that his whole cross sling's not working and his reactive core is just nowhere. On his back, he can't bring his head up to his chin and hold that for 30 seconds. Deep neck flex is not working. Them and the psoas are a pretty good bedfellow. So if they're both offline, and your core is just going to struggle all the time, and guess what's going to happen? You get injured. Movement, so as you know, we've done enough on movement. The FMS, just any sort of movement test. Are you lunging, hip hinge, squat? How you moving up a body, your rolling patterns, all this sort of stuff. Our motor control, actually, it's similar to sort of movement, but how you almost move with control. So the anterior slide is one of the big things we use, and we're testing that all the time with all the players at the moment, and it gives us really good indication. So if you want more on that, remember to go back and have a look at the FMS webinar we did, and you got loads on that there. So just go back through the files. So moving on. The roll and pattern crucial, just touched upon it a little bit then. If you cannot roll from your left to your right using your upper body or your lower body, or you've got such a discrepancy, one side's easy, one side's really hard, that's a massive, massive red flag. And we need to get this right before even thinking about lifting down the line. Okay? Really is one of the first things we need to get going. And I can show you cross sling problems. So from one leg, so if you think when that front foot lands your left leg, all the way up to that cross sling to your internal obliques, external obliques, pec into the arm, there's massive issues there that we need to get right. If we don't get right, again, the back's going to have the trouble. We want to check the adductors and QL as well. Some things that we notice that when people start flaring up with their backs, very tight adductors, very tight in the QL area. So when it is that, just don't think, okay, well, I'm really tight here, so I'll just do some release work. Have a little bit of a look deeper, and is there actually something going on? And as well as that, keep on top of them as well. Okay, don't just do your adductors and QL when they're tight. Make it part of it all the time, sort of prehab. Like I said, can be warning signs when they're tight, and then suddenly bang. We've seen quite a lot of people with stresses and before who don't present with the traditional pain on the stalk test, but suddenly you get sort of pain. You think, was that a little side injury or something like that, or just a bit of tightness? And then when they're scanned, it's showing up with a bit of a stressy because the musculature is just taking all the slack and it's getting so fatigued and tight and it's just hanging in there for dear life. And when it can't hang in there anymore, bang, gone. So this is how we're sort of structuring it now. This is week one. Everything's ground based. Okay, we want to take the pressure off the back, but get everything else working and moving as it should, in taking you right back down to sort of regressions of you know, how a toddler moves. Well, what this does, once we take the legs out of it, we help them to align the pelvis. The pelvis, obviously, in cricket, is such an asymmetrical sport. It again gets such a hammering. That left side hitch, massive. So once we're taking that off, we can help align the pelvis, which helps the sacroiliac and the lumbar massively. And everything we're doing, I'll probably touch on this quite a few times. Make sure there's no recreation of pain. If the same pain you get when you're bowling and everything is coming back when you're training, massive, massive red flag. Okay, this goes for everything. Okay, what we don't want and what's happening in cricket at the moment is people are getting injured training in the S&C phase, not even in the bowling phase, which is absolutely mental. Okay, so we really have to. If something is hurting in the gym and it's recreating any sort of the pain or anything like that, we've just got to step away from it. We really have. So what we do here, basically for the first week, is very, very simple. We're going FMS, we're going primals, and we're just hitting the core, all on the ground, pretty much, or tall kneeling. So if you're lacking the ability to roll, or you've got no stability on one leg, then the thing that we're going to look at first here is going to be your reactive core. Okay, touched on it in one of the articles last week, I think, or the week before. So core, you've got the outer core, your abs and all that crap, and yeah, all the muscles around your back, and then we've got the inner core, the reactive core, your multifidus, TVA, your diaphragm comes into here as well, your pelvic muscles, and if they're not working and they're not reacting, so the work when you think of the reactive core, what we've got to think of is when you sneeze, you haven't got time to think I've got to engage this, engage that. It just works, okay? And that's your reactive core. So we need that to work on back foot, front foot contact, everything. That system has got to be working. If it's not, then we're struggling. And this is where a little bit as well, where the people say, yeah, but you get great core sort of crossover from squatting and deadlifting, and you do, but not the inner core. The inner core is not getting work there. You're doing the outer core, which is fine and it looks good and everything like that. Inside, absolute shit show. So we need to make sure that's getting strong, and use this time to retrain it. Okay, so sometimes it can be a good time to take someone out and just get some basic fundamentals back in there that might have gone offline, and soft tissue work at the same time. If we can just release all the soft tissue whilst we're doing with the correctives, then there's a lot higher chance it's going to stick. Right, let's have a little look then. So week one. So basically we had 2 sessions and he repeated them twice. So 4 sessions during the week. Session 1 is FMS correctives. Okay, I put in the group, in the Facebook group last week, 3 different FMS correctives, a straight leg raise one, thoracic one, and a single leg one, I think. Okay, so if they do your correctives, do the primal resets. Again, we've done a webinar on the primal resets. And here, even if you just do those 2 for the first week, I'll be happy as Larry. Happy as Larry. But then what we've gone into, again on the floor, we've gone to the rope dead bugs, the tall kneeling anti-rotational pull, and a half kneeling chop and press. Okay, just basic trunk movements, and we're just almost waking the beast up again. Session 2, bang, FMS correctives, primals. Now that's going to be the same for every session. Okay, every session we're getting them in there, Then people are, oh, that can be a bit boring. To be honest, I don't care. If we want to get the back right, we need to be doing it. And then we just move on to a different dead bug variation, the Swiss ball squeezes, which I really love, and the balance beam zercher, hydro bag holds, and slide board upward distraction. So it's sort of plank position, and we're going forward and back. All the exercises will be in the thing that I'm going to put up the program, and I get links with the exercises so you can see what they are. So basic. He does that. Session 1, session 2, Monday, Tuesday, say, Wednesday off. Session 1, session 2, Thursday, Friday, basic. So after week 1, we're going to have a little look and give regular targets. We don't want to go sort of 4 or 5 weeks and then measure something, say, has it worked? Because that's a long chunk of time to be doing rehab to get to the end of that time and then say, right, oh, nothing's improved there. So we want to do it every week, and we're using it as a bit of a baseline before moving on. So the things we're looking at, the anterior slide, left, right leg, and the thing here, not worried about how far you're going, is it within 2 centimeters left to right. Side plank to start off, 30 seconds each side, Rolling pattern for the latest guy we've done is upper body couldn't roll left to right to start. So we needed to know at the end of the week, could he roll at least some form, upper body or upper quarter, left to right, and the hip hinge. This lad had hip hinge pain. So anytime he just did an unloaded RDL, he had a bit of pain. So first end of week 1, we got him in a tall kneeling position with a band around the waist, a mini band around the waist, and he was going into a hip hinge like that. And basic question, does it hurt? Yes, no. If it's a no, we know we can move on. So I said, pass them all, bang, on to the next week. So then we just added in a different session. So we've got 3 different sessions over 4. So one of them we do twice. So let's have a little look. Again, bang, FMS correctives, primal reset, same rope dead bugs, same tall kneeling, same half chop. But then we've added in a bit of reactive core. Okay, so we've got a tall kneeling anti-rotational rope reaction catch. So again, that reactive core, we know it's missing, bang, it's in. Crucial thing, does it hurt? Yes or no? It was no, so we kept going. Session 2, correctives, primal reset, Swiss ball dead bugs, squeezes again, slide board again, and then we've just added at the end there, front foot contact, 1K catch and hold. So we're getting the Boland specific positions this week as well. Again, is there pain? Yes or no? If there's no, bang, crack on. And then the last one, session 3. So we've got the FMS correctives, primals, ductor plank, 3K Turkish get-ups, tall kneeling reaction catch and holds. So that could be left or right hand. Hip split, side plank. So that is coming from a one hip's in external rotation, one in internal, and we're coming up into a side plank there. And a slide board, anterior slides with the hydro bag. The hydro bag is fantastic, absolutely fantastic for any core reactive work. It's pretty much perfect. And then when you put the slide board in there as well, in absolute heaven. So again, at the end of the week, we're going to recheck the scores. And this time, similar, but we want a side plank to be at 45 and the hip hinge to be pain-free in a standing position. So, like I've already reiterated a few times, big question, does this hurt? Or is it recreating the same pain? Because some of them's going to be not nice, because it's hard work on the core, especially the reactive core work, because it's not there. So we're trying to retrain the pattern. But we want to know, is there the pain? And if they do recreate the pain the same as there when they're bowling, then we stop the exercise and look for alternative. And we need to take, especially when we're in the bowling positions, get them set in that front foot brace, back foot hip dip position, you know what the position is, and make sure they're comfortable in there before you start the exercise. And the test, retest, crucial. Everything okay? Bang. Into week 3. So, same thing, FMS correctives, exactly the same session there. Session 2. This time what we're doing is changing it up slightly. We're adding the occlusion, okay? And basically with the occlusion, again, we've done a webinar on this, so go back through the files, have a little look, or on the website. The occlusion is great for trying to keep muscle mass there. So we're just doing slide board reverse lunges. It's a very simple step ups just with a hydro bag, no weights, no dumbbells, anything like that. So we're getting some extra muscle mass, help with the occlusion and some fast twitch fibers actually working, and the hydro bag using the reactive core. Session 3, very much front. See, you've got 3 front foot contact position, different reactive core work. And what we're doing at the end there is going to a half kneeling thoracic oblique crunch ×2, and then into half kneeling bowls ×2, and we're doing 6 of them. So we're in the half kneeling bowling. So it's only week 3, but we're not letting the upper body either forget how to bowl, but also what we're doing here is helping the thoracic extension and rotation and the hip shoulder separation. But again, crucial, does it hurt? Yes, no, massive. There's no point, if someone's post-surgery, probably wouldn't have them doing this that early, okay? So you just have to change it for the person. And session 4, same again, FMS, primals, and this time we just add in a few more reactive core, slide board, Turkish gaps. Turkish gaps are amazing to have a little look at symmetry. Can he do the same left to right? Yes or no? And again, we've got the slide board, the hydro ball, and bands. Those three things on their own can help work the reactive core really well. The slide board that we've just got one called Flowing, and we've got from Perform Better. It's just over £100, I think, but absolutely magic bit of kit, the slide board. So if you don't get through a week and pass the end of week test retest, then you don't go on. Okay, just redo that week until you pass, and then move on. So we say weeks, but take it more of a stage. So stage one, first week, don't go on until you pass the what we need you to do, and then stage two, that might take 3 weeks before you move on. Okay, so it's really down to the individual. Form is crucial all the time. Be really anal with form. No real loading at all. So barbell's not in sight. The barbell's not going to be in sight until probably week 8. Okay, we're just showing you the very first stage here. No pain, and we're already getting bone specific during the 3rd week. So just to reiterate, if someone has at the op, you're going to wait a little bit of time. They're probably going to give them 6 weeks before you start this, but they can be doing soft tissue and stuff before that. But there we go. So that's just redone the first stage of the stress fracture back to bowling program. So stress fracture, stress reaction, and any sort of back issue at all. Get down, make sure the reactive core's working, make sure the body's moving right, and you're going to run into a hell of a lot less problems. Okay, great stuff. Catch you soon.